Yeah, good morning, everyone. So last session we learned about how to use switch statements. So in the statements, so we learned about conditional statements. We discussed all the conditional statements. That is actually comparison. Conditional statements have various forms of if and some exercises on if. Now, after understanding selection statements, we have looping control statements. We have looping control statements. Generally, looping control statements, looping is nothing but. So looping is the process of executing a set of statements repeatedly until the given condition is satisfied. So that is what actually loop. And important is every loop usually loop contains three things: initialization and condition, and we have a counter. Three important things: initialization, condition, counter. Initialization indicates where to start, and condition indicates when to stop. Counter indicates how to proceed, right? So these are done by using loops are created by using three important things. What are those? By using for using do while, and so while and do while. These are used for creating loops. So we don't call iterations. Iterations are different. Iteration different, loop different. Generally in loop, the initialization, condition, and counter, all three are present. But iteration don't contain. Iteration is different from loops. So iteration have different things. I will tell you what are those. So loops are created by using for, while, and do while. Actually, what is the necessity of loop? That means some work we have to do repeatedly. If the same work have to be done repeatedly until the condition is satisfied, then we can give that work to loops. For example, suppose we have one simple point. So we are taking an example here. And in this example, let's take a new file. So this is like a loop.html. So here we are defining a simple logic. Suppose we will ask n. So we will say prompt enter number. User will enter a number n. Now I want to print the 5 numbers after that n. Then how? In general. So we need to print the 5 numbers after this n. Then how we can do that in general is, so where, suppose first A is equal to n. After that, that means including that number, 5 numbers I have to print. After that, B is equal to A plus 1. Or you can say n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3, like this. That means B is equal to n plus 1. Then C is equal to n plus 2. That means what we are doing here, we are adding the value of plus 1 to that existing number. So instead of doing this so many times, we can do it one time and run it several times. That is what the concept of loop. Loop means you write once and tell how many times it have to run. It will execute those number of times. That is what usually the concept of loop. And after reaching that condition, it will stop. Right? Loop indicates when to start, when to stop, and how to proceed. Right? These are the options. Then what is difference between these three? For, while, and do while. Let's see. First, we will see the for loop. In computer programming, so developer uses for loop when he is sure about the number of iterations and iteration count will not change dynamically. So when developer is sure about the number of iterations and iteration count will not change dynamically, then we can go with for. For example, when to use for loop? Example is, suppose I will give you the example like this. Suppose we have a database. In this database, 10 records are present. And you need to read these 10 records and present them. You have to read all the 10 records and present them. But this database is on a server. Then what happens is you are reading into it and somebody may be writing into it. That means a server means it is shared by many people. You are reading and somebody is writing or deleting or doing some operation. Now what happens is when you are reading the 10 records, you started reading. But by the time you reach 10, somebody deleted one record. Somebody is adding a new record. That means now 11 came. But what was your condition? Your condition was 10. But after a few minutes, you started reading. While reading, someone deleted, someone added new. That means dynamically the list is changing. Then remember, for cannot adjust itself. Once the list is dynamically reading, for cannot adjust. That means it will not change dynamically. At the time of beginning, how many are there? So it will fix to that. In between somebody added or somebody removed, then it is not going to update itself. So what is the problem with for? And when to use for? For example, this is database behavior. Suppose you are having some drop down. You are having some drop down list. In this drop down list, you have 10 cities. They are fixed. Nobody can add cities. Nobody can remove cities. It's a fixed list of cities. You can't add or you cannot remove. In that case, now it is a fixed list and it will not change. Then if you want to read that, right, for this, which one is best? For is best. For this, which one is best? While is best. So if you have a list which is not constant, the list may keep on changing. In that case, better you use while or do while. So what is difference between while do while? I will tell you. But if list is standard and the list will not change dynamically, it is not going to add or remove anything, then better you can go with for loop. So when a developer uses for, when he is sure about the number of iterations, when he is sure about the number of iterations, and he is sure that iterations will not change dynamically, in that case, better to go with what? For. So for is good when you have a standard list. So if list is standard, it is not changing, then better use for. That is the reason. But in JavaScript, one point is our JavaScript behavior is completely different now. I already told you we have array. Can array size change dynamically? In JavaScript, it can change, but in other technologies, it cannot. That means in other technologies, arrays are similar type. In other technologies, arrays cannot change size dynamically, right? So here it is completely different. So that is the reason wherever you need access of values from start to end, some iterations should happen continuously until end based on standard list, which will not change dynamically. Then better you use a for. Generally, how we write for loop syntax. Syntax for loop, we have for initialization, we have condition, and we have counter. That's how we need to define. Initialization, condition, and counter. So for example, you see now here, I want here for initialization means where to start. Suppose var some I equal to 1. Condition, when to stop. When I less than or equal to 10. How to proceed. After the first, how to proceed. How many to proceed? That means how to proceed, I should increment. I can use I plus plus or your wish. I is equal to I plus 2. I plus is I plus plus means I equal to I plus 1. I plus 1. That you can write as I plus plus. You can even define I is equal to I plus 2. That means for every 2 times, once it will execute. That means it will skip 2. So here we are defining I is equal to I plus 1. Right? I equal to I plus 1. I am defining. So here I defined this. Fine. This is how we configure. Now, actually plus plus increment. What should happen? I will print document.write I. It is going to print the value of I, BR, line break. So you can see it is going to print all these details. It is going to print from 1 to 10. Starts with 1. So for example, I is equal to I plus 2. Then it is going to print 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That means it will skip for every 2, right? That increment, decrement you can give. For example, I starts with 10. So then I greater than or equal to 1, right? Greater than or equal to 1. Then what we have to do? I equal to I minus 1. That means from 10 to 1 it will print. That means in reverse order it is going to print. That means where to start, where to stop, how to proceed. All these are your wish, right? That means you can initialize. So you can tell the condition and you can define the counter. So this is a simple concept of for means how to iterate, how to execute set of statements repeatedly until the condition is satisfied. For example, I will do one thing here. Suppose let's do one simple example. This is syntax and this is example. Okay. So you can configure the same example. I starts with 1. I greater than or equal to I less than or equal to 10. Then we can put I plus plus. So here, how to implement this? I will give one simple example. Suppose I asked that take 10 names one by one and store in a variable, in an array, and print them. Take 10 names and 10 names one by one, one after another. Using a prompt, take 10 names and store them in an array and print all those names. Then how? So for that, first what we are doing, where names is an array. So how many names we have to read? 10, beginning from 1. But index number of array starts with 0. So here, that's you will know that. So what we will do for where I will start with 0 because index of array starts with 0. So I less than how many? I less than or equal to 9. I less than or equal to 9. That means because 0 means 10 it is equal to 9. So then I plus plus. So that means I will put until the condition I greater than or equal to 9. What does this means? If it goes more than 9, right? Equal to 9 or more than 9, I plus plus. Now what we are doing here is we are saying, so prompt means where name. So I will put as name is equal to prompt. Here I will put a message, enter. So name, and in the square brace, I will put here I plus 1. I plus 1 is how much? 0 plus 1. That means name 1, but it will be stored in index 0. It is just only message, name 1. Okay. It should be stored in names. We have to define names. Names is an array. Names of I is equal to name. Understood? That means names of I, how much? Names of I is 0, na? 0 in this, what name will be stored? The first name. It will be stored. So we are adding that here. Second time it will be how much? Name of 1, name of 2, name of 3. All will be stored in that names array. After that, it will stop. Now what we have to do, we have to print all the names. That means how do we print the names? For example, document.write. Temporarily, I'm just using what is it? I. So it is what is it? So simply names, because toString is there now. We will print all the names. It will separate with comma. We can use a for. Here, what is the condition? Condition is I starts with 0 until less than or equal to how much? 9. We are not going decrement order. We are using increment order. Okay. Now let's run this and see. So now it is name 1. Name 1, I entered some A. Name 2 is B. Name 3 is C. Name 4 is D. Name 5 is E. Name 6 is some F. So G. So H. So I. Some J. And whatever names you entered, it will print them. That means to take the 10 names and print all those names, then we have used a simple loop here. That means it will execute the set of statements until the condition is satisfied. If you are taking reverse order, then start with 10 less than or equal to 9, greater than or equal to 1. You have to define, and minus decrement. So this is a simple technique of loop. So now here we are entering those details. So this kind of iteration is very common, right? When it reaches the condition, then it will stop. We are accepting the names and we are handling the condition and we are defining the condition. Now technically here one more thing you need to understand. What it is when you are writing for loop, initialization, condition and counter, these actually you can keep anywhere. That means actually the place of initialization can be there. So here important is you can initialize and check for condition. So check for condition explicitly. You can check for condition explicitly. So outside the for method. But there must be, the memory allocation must be defined. That's compulsory. For example, if anybody given you in interview like for, so I++ like this, is it a valid syntax? There is no initialization, there is no condition. Is it valid? It is valid. Because initialization and condition can be outside the for method. Explicitly we can define outside the for method. For example, you see now I am not initializing where I equal to 0 here. Then you can define here where I is equal to 0. That means it's not necessary that you have to initialize inside the method. You can configure outside the method. It is same thing. That means when you run this here, you can see, so same. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. It will get that and display. So even when you define the condition, you can keep here. What's the condition? You can write the condition inside this for. That means anywhere the syntax is given like this, that is valid. This is valid only. This is valid. So initializations and all you can configure outside. Condition you can define inside. We can manage that. But remember, these loops are not defined. These loops are not defined. Usually these loops are not defined. When we are configuring these loops, these are not defined in regular JavaScript with arrays. We always recommend iterations, not loops. We don't recommend the usage of these loops regularly, because iterations are more faster than loop. Iterations are asynchronous and iterations are more fast. So that is the reason you used map. Map is also reading everything from begin to end. You have learnt about map, find, filter. All these are iterators. What is the specialty of iterator? Actually, iterator I will tell you in next level. Iterator advantage is you don't need a condition. You don't need initialization. You don't need counter. So you can define just collection and store reference of that collection. Where to start, where to end, you don't need to mention. Everything it will take care. That is what iterators are. These days, everywhere we use iterators only. Very rarely you will see people use these loops only if they want an index-based access. Index-based access, then they use these loops. We better prefer iterators. For example, I will show you now. What is difference here? I will show you. See, suppose we are having a var menu. This is an array. This array is have object. This is having a category. In the category, we have some electronics. Another one, it is having products. Products is again array. In the products array, we are defining, televisions. We are defining like mobiles, like this. There is another one. This category is what? Footwear. In this what? Products. Products is an array. In the products array, we are defining. So in the products array, we are configuring some boots. So some casuals like this. Now I want to print this in a nested list. That means we will use in the body section an ordered list. In that I want to print as nested list. So on load, I'm just giving a body load. Let's write a function here. What is it? Body load. We have to do the same. Earlier we done this. Earlier we done that by using iterators. But now you see we will use a loop for where I starts with 0. Because index number starts with 0. I less than menu dot length means how many items are there in menu. That means 2. 0 is first category. 1 is second category. Up to the length means how many are there. Then I plus plus. That means we are incrementing by 1. Now, what should happen? We have to create a list item. Document dot create element li. What should be list item inner HTML? List item inner HTML is from menu we have to access array. Menu of index number is I. That means 0. I is initially now 0 now. That means this 0 is passed here. Menu of 0 means what? Menu of 0 is nothing but, so first one. That means the I value is passed here. And menu of 0 means it is referring to the first. It is referring to the first. The first category should come now. The first category should come. That means dot what category. That's how we define. That means we have to pass the index reference and we need to access. That means menu of 0 means the first object. In that category, that is the category name. But in the menu 0, there is products. Na? There is products. That is also array, again array. So we have to write another for, where j is equal to 0. Because I is already used by the previous one. Now j less than menu of I dot products. Products is an array dot length. That means until the products are ended. How many products are there? It's count. Now j plus plus. We have to access j plus plus. J plus plus. Now important is, so we have to print these products in an unordered list. We have to create UL is equal to document dot create element UL. And we have to create unordered list item document dot create element. So this is LI. Now unordered list item should display. See how to access the first product. How to access the first category, first product. Tell me the representation. Menu of 0. Menu of 0 means first object. In that products is an array. Products is again array. In that first object 0. Menus of 0, products of 0. Now this 0 is managed by, this loop is managed by I. This is managed by j. Understood? That means now what we have to write here, menu of I dot products of j. We have to access that here. This will access that and store in this. Now document dot this is first unordered list dot append child. Which one? Unordered list item. Then li dot append child. Which one? Unordered list. After that document dot query selector. What is it? OL. Into that what? Append child. Which one? List item. Now this is the hierarchy of creating the list like this. So here we have to write on body load na, where we are missing. Let's check where we are missing any some error is there. What is it? Append child is not a type. Where is append child field? Here. Append child here, inner HTML. We forgot inner HTML there. It is going to add those items and display those items. This is nested iteration. This is nested iterations. The same work we have done without loop by using map. So map is more faster, simpler. So you can see this is the complex way. right? We already done the same thing with map. Here, one loop for outer, another loop for inner. Of course, we need these inner outer for map also. But index references are risky. I, J, K, L, so many multi-level references we need to handle. So this is difficult to manage. But this is good when you are trying to access based on index. If there are index-based access, then we can handle it easily. For example, I will tell you here one more point. Let's see. Suppose we are having, so here we are having a div. In this class, we have container. Okay. So here class or ID will give. Okay. Here body on load. That is body load. Now what I want to do is I am having a script. So where, suppose here I am giving topics. Topics is list, and here I am giving topics. Suppose web technologies. So in this front end, in this HTML, like this. So we have normal elements, or say semantics. So here layout. Yeah, in this we have some header, like this we define. Now what I want to do is I want to print all these in 6 headings. I want to print all these in 6 headings. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5. And add to that container. First topic should be heading 1. Second topic should be heading 2. Third topic should be heading 3. Tell me how we can do. Function body load. Body load. We have to read all the topics one by one. For where I is equal to 0. So I less than topics dot length I plus plus. Okay. Now here we have to define headings. Right? How do we define the headings? I need to create a heading. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, 6 headings we have to create. And add to container. Suppose I am giving where H. H is for heading. How to create a heading? Document dot create element. Create element. It is expecting tag name. Tag name I given H. And I am giving a binding expression. Binding expression I plus 1. Because there is no heading 0 na. 0 plus 1. That means it is what? Heading 1. Now what should be H dot inner HTML? Inner HTML, it should be topics. Topics of what? I. I means it will be what? 0. 0. And this must be appended. Document dot query selector. Query selector. Not query selector, get element by ID. ID is what? Container. Dot append child. Append child. Which one to append? H. Heading to append. That means what is the concept here? It will print all these heading levels. That means all those are printed as heading levels. Now, everything we can't teach you. You have to now think based on the requirement. That means you see, we can tell you 10, 15 scenarios, different. But when you go to interview, they ask a different one. You must able to think which one to loop, which one to repeat, where the changes need to happen, and you need to implement. These kind of requirements are regularly given, right? Actually, in reality, we don't prefer using a lot of loops. But in most of the practical tests, you have to work with loops very much. Because they want to test your logical skills. Then they will test on loops and conditions very much. That's the reason. So even we don't use loops very much. We have to be perfect in working with loops. Right? So that is very important. I hope you can do this now, right? Let's see. So I will give you some tasks in the next session. Today we will learn detailedly. In the next session, we will have some program exercises, right? I will give you some tasks in companies, how questions are asked related to these loops conditions, right? So usually this is one simple approach, how we can create. So this is a concept of working with for. When to use for? When we know the exact number of iterations and we are sure that iterations counter will not change dynamically, then we have to use the for loop. When to use while and do while? The next important is the while loop. Second one is the while loop. The while loop. So it is used by developer when he is not sure about the number of iterations, and iteration counter may change what? Dynamical. Iteration counter may change dynamical. So when we are not sure about the number of iterations and iteration counter may change dynamically, then better use while. But very important is while can start only when the condition evaluates to true. So statements are executed only when the condition is true. When condition false, statements will not execute. That is what difference between while and do while. That means while loop will execute the statements only when condition is true. Syntactically, we write like this. Syntactically, where, so I will say, where I is equal to 0. And we write while the condition I less than or equal to 10. And here I plus plus. And I am just using document.write or console.log the value of what? I. And here, so this is how we define. This is how we define. That means what happens? It will initialize I with 0. It will check this condition. If the condition is satisfied, then it will increment by 1 and it will print. After printing, it will repeat this again. How many times it is going to repeat until this is satisfied? It is satisfied. That means it is going to print in this way. So we have where I is equal to 0. So while I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus document.write the value of I, and we are having this. What does this means? That means it is going to print the values from 1 to 10. I will use now only equal, less than 10. It will print up to 10. Now important here, same thing. If I value is 10, if I value is 10, it cannot start this at all. Only when the condition is true, then it executes the statement. It executes the statement. That's what actually it is doing. it is executing the statement. What do while can do is do while is similar to while loop, but it ensures that the statements will execute at least once even when the condition is false. Even the condition false, the statements will execute. That means I want the statements to execute once. So even when the condition is false. So in that case, we can go with do while. So it will not touch until the condition is true in while. Here it is going to touch even the condition is false. So why here? Because syntactically we write like this: do, and after that we define statements. And here we check the while condition we will define. That means here we have to define while, and here we define the condition. That means what happens? The condition is checked at the bottom. That is the reason even the condition is false, the statements will execute, because statements are before the condition. So generally when people ask what is difference while and do while, so usually you people have answer like it will check condition above, condition below. That is not correct. You should not say where it is checking the condition. You should say that while will ensure that statements are executed only when condition is true. But do while ensures that the statements are executed at least once, even when the condition is false. That is the point. So you see here, suppose I am defining, so where I is equal to 0, and I said do, and here I am defining, so I plus document dot write the value of I, and here I am configuring while I less than or equal to 10, right? So while less than 10, I am just defining less than 10. Then it is going to print the values from 1 to 10. And see, when I say I value is suppose 10, then what happens? It will execute that. Why? Because you are incrementing now. You are incrementing and printing. That means the statement will execute once, even when the condition is false. This type of situation I will show you in application. In application where we use them, I will show. We will see that. But initially, what is the difference between while and do while? Do while guarantees that the statement will execute at least once, even when the condition is false. That is the point. And what is the difference between while, do while, and for? The difference is for is used when iterations counter will not change dynamic. While and do while are used when iterations counter may change dynamic. So if you have a standard list and you want to read or write data into that, then you can go with for. If you have a dynamic list means list will be changing, then better you can go with while and do while. Now on this concept, I will give you one task you have to try. One task I will give you, you have to try. First, give me here some hints so that I can understand how much you know, right? I will show you the task. Let's design one thing here. You have to finish it, right? So such tasks by yourself, but I will show here. Suppose I'm giving a field set with a legend, say So legend, and I'm saying verify OTP or verify PIN. So we have a div. So here we have your PIN. So and input type is equal to text. ID is equal to PIN. Okay. Then we have a button. So verify or say submit or something. Submit. Now you see here. So we have a script. We have where user details. It is an object. It have suppose username. Username can be anything, something like this. And we have a PIN. PIN is suppose a number. So 4535. That is the number. I am just defining that number. Now what should happen when user clicks submit click? Submit click. What should happen? Submit click means on click. On click. Which one should happen? Submit click. Submit click function should fire up. Now I have to verify the PIN they entered. So where PIN is equal to document dot get element by ID. What is it? PIN dot value. We are verifying if user details dot PIN is matching with the PIN we entered. Right? If it is matching with the PIN we entered, then what should happen? Here it should be number. We will use parse int because whatever you enter is a string, but PIN is a number, right? If it is matching with the PIN, then so document dot write. So login success. Suppose verified. So PIN verified successfully. This message should come. Okay. Otherwise, it should display. It should display document dot write. Document dot write, or here I will put a paragraph. So as a align to center, ID as error. Error. Okay. So here we will access document dot get element by ID. What is it? Error dot inner HTML. It should say what? Invalid PIN. So font color as red. Okay, this is the option here. And actually the correct PIN is 4535. Okay, this is the option. I entered some wrong PIN. It says invalid PIN. Now the point is I can enter wrong PIN. So I entered another PIN. I say submit. That's also invalid. Like that, I can enter only 3 times wrong. After 3 times wrong, it should display a message saying that your card is blocked. Right? That means wrong can be 3 times. Now tell me how. And it should show message like 2 attempts left. After that, 1 attempt left. After that, 0 attempts left. How? Now tell me where should we write the logic? If PIN is correct, verified successfully. If PIN is wrong, how many times? 3 times it can be wrong. Where do I write the condition? How? 3 times how? Wrong PIN 3 times. It should not take the PIN 3 times. Huh? If it is wrong, it can be 3 times. Where do we write the condition for that? If it is correct, it will verify. If it is wrong, then it should display that. Here we have to write a, okay, what should I write there in the else? How many times this else can run? Error can run how many times? 3 times. 3 times error can run, right? Then what we will do is, so we will put 3 times. That means how we put, so we will put a while, or we can put a do while. Do, so what it has to do, three times now. So here, for example, we will put here, so where count, okay, count is initially how much? 0. So if else means first time, then count will be increased by 1, will be increased by 1. Count plus plus, it will be increased by 1. Okay. Next, that is initialization. So here we are writing while. While, what is the condition? Count is less than or equal to 3. Less than or equal to 3. What should happen? This must be incremented. So here we need to put a message. What message? Document dot write. What should I do? Invalid pin. How many attempts left? How do I show? So that means here I have to put a condition. What is the condition? 3 minus count attempt left. I'm just hinting you. I am not giving the solution. Understood? Right? Suppose I am writing like this. So attempts left, like this I am giving left. So now you see here, suppose I am writing a wrong pin, then it should show that message, right? It's not working. Where to write the condition? Concept is same. Understood? Concept is same. If they entered wrong pin, 3 times they can enter wrong pin. Means I just given you the hint how to handle, but this is not the right way. What do you say? How do we handle that? Where should I write the condition? It's a regular requirement. In all pin verifications, you will find this everyday life. Think the logic now. Where to handle that? Any idea? Anyone is trying this now? Okay, I will copy this. You try at home, right? So this is your task. The just hint I am giving, right? You try this at home and let me know. Okay, these kind of tasks are very regular generally because these are regular requirements. Suppose not only PIN, now think that you are entering password and wrong password you are entering 3 times, 4 times wrong password. Then what they will do? Immediately they will say that blocked. Right? So how you will verify 3 times wrong value, correct value? That's what the conditions you need to check. So before entering, after entering, where do you check? This is important. Right? So you can reverse the condition actually. So here, suppose how many times the PIN can be taken? 3 times the PIN can be taken. Then can I write like for where I is equal to starting with 1? Are you dealing with any array here? Right? So I plus plus, sorry, I less than or equal to 3, I plus plus. Now 3 times I am going to verify the PIN first, suppose. Right? How do we verify the PIN? This is 3 times. Suppose I am writing if suppose PIN is not equal to whatever you entered, what you entered. So user details dot PIN. If it is not equal to that, then what should display? So document dot write, what it should say? Invalid PIN. Right? Okay, invalid PIN. Suppose I am just giving, so invalid PIN. I'm just giving here invalid PIN. So invalid PIN, and I am giving, so 3 minus I attempts left, like this. 3 minus 1 means how many attempts left? 2 attempts left. Right? So here I am defining else. I am defining what? Document dot write. So success, verified, this message should come. Verified, this message should come. 3 times I am taking. 3 times I am taking the value. For example, you see now, this is just a verification, just confirmation for you, just how it is done. Suppose I am entering wrong number, then it says invalid PIN, 2 attempts left, 1 attempt left, 0 attempt left. 3 times it is running. Understood? Suppose here instead of document dot write, I am giving document dot get element by ID. So where is it? Error dot what? Inner HTML. We are displaying that message. Now you see 3 times it is verifying now. That means last one is coming. 3 times it is verifying. So it should verify every time now. For every time, suppose if that PIN is correct, PIN is what? 4535. If the PIN is correct, then verified. I don't want 3 times, only 1 time verified. So you have to use a jump statement. Understood? Jump statement is what? Break. You have to use a jump statement, verified. Right? If it is successful, then suppose I am giving break. So that means 4, 5, 3, 5, then it is verified. Right? Now, so wrong entered, then it should say this one. Now I want you to handle this one. Suppose here I am using a break. Now I entered wrong pin. It says 2 attempt left. I am entering some 1. That means it should run again and it should say 1 attempt left. So I entered again wrong. Then it should say 0 attempt left. You try this now. Understood, na? Half again I implemented here some. Only one small logic you need to handle it. If you can do, then it is done. Try that, right? So this is just a help I given here, because so if everything I given the solution, you don't think about it, is not great. That's the reason. So you have to first try. If unable, then I will explain how we can handle that. Right now, you have learned 3 iterations and looping statements. What are those? For, while, and do while. Right now, based on this, we will learn some programs. Means interview questions. In interviews, how programs are asked. Lot of programs are asked based on this. Iterations, loops. That means like reverse a word, right? Find out whether the word is a palindrome or not, right? So these kind of questions are very common in interviews because they need to test your logical skills. So that we will see some programs now using for, while, and do while. Okay, now that we'll see tomorrow. Right? First, up to this, you try. And you try this exercise. Then tomorrow, entire session again will be programs. Only programs related to for, while, and do while. That means we are going to practice some examples related to interviews. How they are asked. Only programs, right? So then you are perfect in 2 areas: conditions and loops. Then we can go to the next options. Okay, na? Right. Tomorrow we'll continue.